Alright everyone, here we are for our review show for Draftstars. If you are new here and you're interested in playing, jump in the description below. I've got the sign up link there, so you can click that, get straight signed up and ready for next week. So we'll get into that first game of the round, and it was a 20k prize pool here for the Rabbitohs and the Broncos, and very interesting game here with both wingers from winger from either side there with Cobbo and Tane Milne, getting the chocolates there, a couple of tries each, and really dominating with a 70 and a 57 respectively there. And I had Farnworth and Tass, and both didn't go so great. So one of those things. And my man Adam Reynolds had continued to dominate in what's been an amazing year for him in the Draftstars, the fantasy world. So an 83. Didn't expect the Broncos to come out and smash the South, so I had that little bit extra cash and decided to go with Cook, who was averaging in the 60s compared to Reynolds in the 50s. So that one didn't work out, and the rest of the picks were solid. We had T&C Rabati, playing that 80 minutes on the edge, and he got a 40.7, which is great. Went for Jensen at the cheap price, and he got a 33, and then Kennedy, who's been getting the mid-30s and happened to get a 16, unfortunately. And Paddy Carrigan was always going to be a great option coming back with no Payne Haas there to get those big minutes. So the bottom four select, three of the bottom four selections were solid, and just obviously missed out on those couple of cheaper guys in the wing fullback. So well done to East Org, who got the top prize there, 2,184. So that's that first game. We'll head back in, and I played a few of the play for fun ones, a few of the money entries as well. So went for the Raiders Dogs, and a lot of middle of the rung results for me this week. This one here with Munkaree guy getting the win on this one. So a few of the guys that have been going well went pretty low in this one with Dufty and Adokar in the outside backs, and this is where my team's obviously struggled a little bit. We went for Elliott, who got 44, was solid. Matty Burton being someone that I thought that was going to have a breakout game finally after having a bit of a slow start to the year. He came out and got a 95. So, him and Corey Waddell were probably and Elliott were my three best selections in this game. And then the other ones just didn't go as well. But you can see the winner here, brought in Matt Frawley, who at a slightly cheaper price, did pretty well, getting 52.79. Pango Jr. with 59 as well. And just really solid across the park was the way to go in this game. So well done to all that played. Like guys like Ryan Sutton got the lower minutes off the bench. Paul Vaughan lower than he normally gets. So is what it is with that game. We move on to the Panthers and Eels. A very strange one here. Having Cleary as a must-have, and he came out with a pretty poor performance for his standards in terms of fantasy with 54 there. So if you spent up big, you had to go pretty cheap elsewhere. And Crichton was solid with 40. Tungo, not so much. So, if you went for the Dylan Brown one, like I spoke about, as a good option, I just couldn't find the cash for him to have him in the squad there. Otherwise, that would have been a great one. But him coming out with a try at the 17,000 mark was great. Coruscant, it said up and down, and this was that up game. So if you selected him, you did really well. Isaiah Papali'i as well, a really dominant player each and every week, and we spoke about him in the whole Saturday video there. Sorry, the Friday video that he out of all those forwards, he was about the fourth or fifth option and had been the most consistent. So he was a great pick for you. And obviously, if it worked out in your individual matchup, then that was great. Went for Kikau myself, and he went solidly. The rest of the guys just did okay where we needed some real dominant performances, like Papali'i there. If you went cheap with Spencer Lanu again, you did well, and obviously Brown and Taylor May, always good options, but just at that expensive price, could you fit other guys in? And obviously some people went a lot cheaper at halves to win this one, which is fair enough. That's the Panthers and Eels, and we move on to Eagles Tigers there, and this one was a fairly normal game, but in terms of the scoring there, you had off Ngawe with a try, which was crazy. Hastings was solid. Obviously, if you went DCE as per normal, he was really dominant with a nice consistent 74 there. Tuipulotu was solid. Tommy Trbojevic was also solid with 52. If you went Ben Trbojevic, which would have been nice at that cheap price in the second row, you got a couple of tries and a try assist, which was great. Lockie Croker, Ollie Gildart, who's had a couple of good games this season, came out with a big one. Seyfarth was solid, at that cheap price, and then you had James Tarmow, who's been killing it for and solid as well usually, and then Musgrove just didn't do so well at those cheaper price points to sort of round out the week that. A bit of a strange week in this game here, but well done to anyone who selected all those guys. All right, a couple of games to go with the Storm and the Dragons there, and this one was again an interesting one. It was a matter of selecting at least one gun in those halves for the Storm there, and you would have dominated. So you had, I picked Munster there, and then if you had the Harry Grant as well, which this team didn't, Harry Grant, mixture of the Nick Meanies, the Pappenhausens. So obviously Coates didn't go as great this week. I spoke about him and Meaney being the potential two guys you'd want to select if you're trying to get a Munster, a Grant, a Jerome Hughes, for example. But yeah, Munster with 88 was great. Joshy King, in a mid-range there at 45. But Jackie Bird obviously didn't play so well. If you went for Ben Hunt, I wouldn't have worked out either. Francis Molo with a lower game for him. Nelson Asafa-Solomona with a big game. And Brandon Smith came out and played a lot better. So if you went for that cheaper price with Brando, you did well there as well. But yeah, a very interesting game with the Storm smashing the Dragons there. And our last one for the week that I've got for you is the Sharks and the Warriors, and a very interesting game as well with a send-off early in this one. So unlucky if you had Will Kennedy, but then you had obviously a lot of good performers, and Talakai was solid with 47 along with Ramian. So two guys that I selected there. Obviously missing out on Nico Hines in this one. I just decided I wanted to go a little bit more expensive in the outside backs, and then obviously that didn't work. So having Hines would have propelled me into a top position, but is what it is with that one. Obviously, I would have to spend up that little bit more elsewhere. Shoni Katoa with 40. I had him in my flex. Cam McInnes was obviously going to be a great one with him starting 13. Rudolph with a bit of a lower game for him, and Bunty off the bench with a slightly lower one as well. So that's that, guys. Teague Wilton was probably obviously a good option with scoring a try, but we went to expect that. But that's the review show for the week. As I said, jump down in the description if you're new, sign up. Get ready for next week's games in round 10. That'll be a lot of fun. Obviously, playing the game-to-game matchups is pretty cool. Some of them have a higher prize pool, some a little bit lower. So really, so hope you enjoyed. We'll catch you in the next video, guys. See you later.